Okay, so we now have a pretty solid grasp on the structure of our environment. And I think that it is looking pretty cool. So what I want to focus on now is I want to start focusing on just like some blockout foliage. Now, the foliage is actually really important, not just for the composition and because it like takes up various amounts of space that we have left open and empty right now. But also what it will do is it will also interact with, of course, our lighting using the shadows and that kind of stuff. So we're going to focus on our foliage. And then it's just going to be a little bit of polishing probably here and there just to improve our blockout a little bit more. And then we can finally get started by actually creating the final environment. So you would think like how to do blockout foliage. Now, many people what they can do is they can literally just like create a few spheres on like a cylinder and then call it done. However, that would not really represent the lighting and just like the overall environment too well. So what I personally like to do is I personally like to grab already completed foliage and then I like to just turn it into a grayscale a little bit like we did with like over here the Megascan assets. And speaking of Megascans, that's a nice thing. So if we go ahead and go over here, Megascans also has 3 packs. You cannot find them in the bridge or in like the actual Megascans, whatever it is called. Pixel bridge over here. However, you can find them on the Unreal Marketplace. So if we go ahead and go here, we can go to, for example, Megascan 3. And if I just type that in, you can see that over here there's a few different 3 packs. So we have the 1, 2, 3 and 4 3 packs. Now, as you might notice is that yes, it does say that it's like a European tree. However, in this case, like it doesn't matter too much. Like trees can be everywhere. Like it's up to you if you want to really like be super accurate and like try to find trees that are growing in Japan and all of that stuff. And I will have a look, of course. So I will have a look to see if we can mimic the looks of the trees that are often in Japan. However, with of course a notice is that I live in Europe. So in terms of like the textures and everything and getting the reference, it would of course become European trees. But that's just like a small little detail. You can add it or you can just leave it. Now the one that I quite like is this one over here because this one feels the least... Well, it is still Europe, but I can remember seeing this one often whenever I look at pictures and videos of Japan. And they are quite nice and high. So what you want to do is you pretty much want to go ahead and download this one because it's completely free. I already downloaded it because I used it before. And then you can say add to project. And then you can just go ahead and select your, in this case, JP tutorial and press add to project. And then it will simply add it to your project. Now the second one is that next to the trees we also have a lot of these shrubs or bushes or something like that. This one is a little bit trickier because I personally do not know of a free pack that has this specifically. I have a paid pack myself. So since this is just going to be a blockout, I am just going to use my paid pack for this. And basically, here, it's like, I will show you which one it is. If we just go this one. It's this one. It is a really, really nice pack. So I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to use this one. Of course, it will, these things, these trees and these shrubs, they will not be included into the project for 2 reasons. One, by the end of the project, we will have replaced them with our own custom foliage. And 2, there's copyright on this because, of course, it's a paid product or it's just in general a product from someone else. So I will be using this one, the Maui shrubs and bushes, but it's just for the blockout. So you can just try and find something online, or you can kind of just like create a few spheres or something, like leave it like that. That is all up to you. So I'm just going to go ahead and also add this one to my JP tutorial project over here. And that is pretty much it. So once those are added, what we can do is we can start by placing all of our foliage. Now, before placing it, there is a little bit of tweaking that I want to do to turn my foliage white. So it looks like that it has been placed. And let's start with the first one, which is like the easiest one. We have our MW common, which is the bushes. If I just go, one sec. If I go just over here, I can find my meshes. And then, okay, that's not the one, I guess. Oh wait, sorry, that's a common. I need this one over here. And then I want to go for meshes and not foliage in this case. Bushes, there we go. So if I go ahead and like drag this one in, you can see it will load in and it will have all of these fancy textures and all that kind of stuff. However, this is not what we need. And it's also quite dark, but that's something that you would normally balance. Instead, what I like to do is I like to click on my search bar to go to the material, open it up, and find this base color material over here. That is the one that I want. So I'm just going to go ahead and grab both this one and just this one because it's also in here. And I believe that that's all I need. I'm just cycling through the textures folders. Yeah, that should be it. Now all that I need to do is I just need to go ahead and go down to adjustments. Set my saturation to 0. And my brightness quite bright, like 2 or 3 or something. Maybe 3. There we go. And I can do the same over here. Saturation to 0. And my brightness to something like 3. That's like a really easy way to very quickly turn something white. And here I can see that 3 is not enough, so let's do like 10. There we go. So let's just do something like 10. And I just want to make it like pretty much solid white. See? Now I set them on 10 and that works quite well. So that's it. That makes these assets already quite a bit more easy. And I will go over, of course, how to paint them in a little bit later, because we are going to use the foliage painting tool. So for these, what I like to do is, where are you? Push over here. So we don't want to use all of these. I like to just go ahead and open up the ones that I feel like we might need. So yeah, this one feels okay. This one is a little bit small, but... And the reason I'm opening them up is just to load them in. If you are importing an asset for the very first time, you always want to go ahead and open them up or just at least place them in your level so that they can be loaded in. If you don't do this when you want to start placing all of your assets, you will need to wait a really long time just for it to compute. But this is now all opened up. I'm gonna save my scene. And the second one is a little bit more of a trickier one, because the Megascan trees, they have a little bit more over the top materials and stuff like that. So what I want to do here is if I go to materials, sorry, let me just actually go to geometry, and we want to go for probably, let's just go for like the simple wind one. That's probably like the best one. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to go ahead and drag in over here. You can see that as soon as I drag it in, this one takes a whole lot longer because it is a much more advanced asset to place. So for this one, what I like to do is I just like to quickly already go to my materials over here. Now in these materials, the first thing that I want to do, and this is just like something that I just know from experience, is to go to the albedo tint leaves, set these to white, and then go down to your seasons and turn those off, because those control the colors of your leaves. If we don't turn those off, we cannot make our leaves white. And next we just go ahead and go in here and open up our two-sided summer over here and set this one to like 5 or 10 and set saturation down to 0. There we go, and now they are white. And then we also want to go ahead and just go into like our trunk. But it's not as easy as just changing this one texture, unfortunately, because I can remember that there are like multiple folders. Or was it just the trunks? Sorry, it can be that it's just the trunks that are multiple folders. Yeah, that might be it. I thought it was like the leaves, where I have to like go in for every single texture. But it might just be the case that it's not. Now, the thing is also these textures over here, they are in 8K resolution, because that's how Megascan always imports everything. For our blockout, I don't really mind, but we would of course never ever make our trees with 8K resolution textures, even if we have them at 8K, just because it would be highly unoptimized. Especially after we do so much effort to like optimize everything. So let's do this, and let's set the density maybe to like 3. But you can see that like, because it is such a high resolution, making a change is a little bit slower. So let's go here. Oh, oops. There we go. 3, 3, and there we go. Okay, so the next thing that I'm going to do, although you can see that over here, I still need to do something with like my bark, I believe. Let's have a look at the tileable bark. This one. Let's go ahead, saturation 0. And brightness 3. Yeah, okay. It still has some spots in here. I'm just gonna have a look, because that's the last one that I probably need to do. Yeah, here, this is probably like the last one that I need to do. So, brightness 3. I know this one is a little bit boring, but then it is done. Just wanted to walk you through it, because sometimes these larger packs that you download can be a little bit overwhelming. So now we have a nice white tree. Now I'm just going to delete it for now. I'm going to save my scene. And then what I'm going to do, just to easily load in all of my assets in one go from the Megascan trees, I'm just going to go to Maps over here in the European beach. And I'm just going to go ahead and open it up. And then what it will do is it will just go ahead and take its time to like load in all of our textures. Okay, it's done loading. And also this is just a lucky coincidence, but here you can see the difference with the shaders that I edited, where I turned off those seasons setting and stuff like that. And here you can see what happens when you do not turn off the seasons setting on this one over here. So you can see like there's quite a big difference. But this one will work great for like just some blockouts. So what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to go ahead, because my computer is also going crazy. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to open up my tiny little scene now over here. And what I will do is I will probably first start with like the shrubs over here. So what I like to do is if we go just up here to selection mode, I like to use the foliage mode. And I know that these shrubs over here have like, you can see over here they already have a foliage mode. This mode will have the settings automatically set. However, I know also from experience with this one that if you use it, I believe that here that the painting for some reason is like a little bit buggy. So if I just go ahead and see, I can double check. Let's activate. Okay, maybe it's not that buggy. Let's see. Because sometimes it is for some reason not able to paint on the terrain or not able to paint on static meshes even though they are selected. It looks like they are fine this time. Now what will also happen is probably the scaling will be off. Oh no, see here, yeah, bug. See, I can paint sometimes on here, but I cannot paint on my landscape. And it could just be like some settings, but that is what I was talking about. So what I'm going to do instead is I'm just going to go ahead and remove those. And let's see, large, medium, tall, large, medium. Okay, so those are the ones I need. So if I go to my, one second, let me just move this over here. If I go to my meshes, bushes, large, medium, and then let's do one small, tall, large, medium, because I just want to go for like quite large ones. And these ones are samplings. Let's do tall, let's do small. Yeah, you know what? That should be fine. Just to use these. Just want to double check. Ah, yeah, you know what? I can also use this one over here. Okay. So the goal is just that we have some that are like at a decent size, because you can see over here, like we just want to go for like the big strokes. We don't want to go for like the tiny bits of foliage and stuff like that. Now, a cool thing in here is that you can set a lot of settings. You can set, well, actually the settings that we are most focused on is the distance, or density, sorry, the scale, the angle, and that's about it. And mobility we want to set to movable. Oh no, sorry, it's not a light. Mobility can be set to static. So what we can do with the density is right now if we paint it, you can see that it's super dense. Which means that like a lot of pieces of foliage get placed into like one small area. First of all, what we can do is we can go up here to the paint density and set this one to 0.1 for example. And that should already like reduce it. But if that doesn't reduce it enough, what you can do, and I'm just holding shift to like remove them again, and I'm just doing a left click to add them, is I can set the density over here to, for example, like 20. So this means that there's a lower density per kilometer. So now you can see that here, see, they paint a lot less, which makes things feel more natural if we just want to do some quick painting and stuff like that. I'm gonna set this probably to like 30 because I do need it to be a little bit dense. The next thing is our scaling. Right now, our scaling is always going to be the same, but we want to have some scaling variation. If we set this from 0.5 to 1, it will randomly grab a scale between 0.5 and 1. So now, you can see like all the differences in scale. I do feel like, to be honest, that our largest scale is a little bit too much. So let's say 0.8. There we go. That feels like a more natural scaling for our specific environment. I'm also going to set my density to probably like 25. And let's just go ahead and get rid of this once again. Now the last one that you can use if you want is the random pitch angle over here. And this one, if I set this to 5, it will randomly like rotate our bushes a little bit, or our shrubs a little bit, as you can see. So it's subtle, but it's just like a nice extra detail. But we will go over these settings much more in the near future. So at this point, what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a new editor viewport and have this on my camera angle because it's really important right now to just properly place our foliage. And we are going to get started. So I mostly want to focus around my foliage, as you can see over here, a bit on the foreground over here. And then for the rest, it's just like blocking, using the foliage to block off this harsh line that you can see over here and that kind of stuff. Yeah, so that should be enough. So let's just go ahead and move this over here. And then of course our trees. And let's have a look. So first of all, a class and quite an easy one is that it would make sense for foliage to grow here. So you can see that I'm just like carefully clicking. And sometimes I just like hold shift to get rid of one if I don't like it. And I'm just looking for like, let's see over here, I want like something a bit larger here. So sometimes I just like click. And then on my other screen, I'm just looking at like, what do I get? So I get like quite an interesting look. And then I feel like it would be nice if the foliage kind of like, oh, not that one, because I don't want to block my view. But the foliage kind of like goes over here. And the same over here, we have like some small ones would be good here. And I also want to improve my path, but that will come in a bit. Let's see, so we are now blocking the path, but I feel like we're blocking it too much. So, but I don't know which one it is. It's this one. I feel like it's these ones over here that are kind of blocking the path. So let's just try and go for something a little bit, I was saying a little bit smaller. Yes. No, I don't. I do want to be quite specific already on like how large I want things to be. Because based on that we can already place all of our additional details. I guess it would make sense if over here we make things a little bit larger in this side. It's too large. Too large. There we go. Okay. And then what I can also often see is that over here they also place some foliage here. So I'm going to make like some kind of like a garden type thing. To also create some foliage here. But right now, so I like how I'm able to see like part of my wall over here. But over here, like I just lost all of the details. And that's what I do not like. I want to be able to see like at least a little bit of our wall. There we go. So now we can see like, see, I just want to like add some additional details by giving away a little bit of our walls. Something like that. And we have like some foliage here. And what I will do is I will not place too much foliage like around the base. I might do like some grass or something like that. But I feel like if I do that, yeah, it becomes too overpowered. Over here, however, I do want to have like quite a large piece of foliage. It's too small. So I want to place it in the right location. There we go. Like one large piece of foliage surrounded by like some smaller ones. Oh, smaller ones I said. And I'm just literally just guessing when it becomes a smaller one. There we go. So we have like a little bit of small foliage and then maybe, I don't know, like over here we could go for like something smaller. I don't know if I like having foliage here on the front. It just doesn't feel right. So instead, let me just go ahead and go over here. So we go small. And also, of course, like getting near the stairs, I want to keep my foliage quite small, because it would make no sense for it to be so large here if people are walking a lot around these areas. Let's see, I think it would be nice to have like a large one here. Yeah, that would look nice. And then it's more like just placing them around a little bit. Maybe have like another one that's like quite large that's going... No, I don't like that. I'm just trying to like place around them in like an interesting area. And I'm also looking mostly on my other screen right now. There we go. And then of course when we have the trees, we will block off that view over here a bit more. So having this, you can also go in here. You can also see like, if you want to like place some foliage like really carefully. Over here, you can also do that. So let's see, so we have some foliage here, we have some here. I think that is a pretty solid base. Now, what I'm going to do now is, so yeah, of course, now at this point you can go in later on and just like place some random foliage, just like go with the environment. But I need to be careful because of my camera, since it looks like that I'm actually painting in front of the camera angle. And the reason for that is because our camera is of course really far away. So it's very easy for us to accidentally block this angle. So that's up to you of course to decide how you want to paint it and where. I'm just having one extra look. And I think... yeah, I think I can live with this. This is looking okay. So now what I want to do is I want to go ahead and I want to place my trees. You can place your trees using the foliage painter, but I like to do it a little bit more by hand. My goal for the trees is two things. One is that right now our lighting is really boring because like there's no interesting shadows. It's literally just like sharp shadows over here. I want to use my trees to of course create like a lot of this really nice looking lighting here and there. And two, it is used to block off the backgrounds that we have over here to make the entire environment feel much larger than it really is. Another thing that I kind of want to do is I don't feel confident that I can block off these areas over here using just trees. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to quickly grab probably like a mega scale rock and just like place some cliffs or something there just to block it off. It's a classic one. Like blocking things off with rocks in a nature environment is always like really easy one. So you can choose cliffs, you can choose maybe like another structure in the distance, like something with walls. I'm just gonna use a very simple one, just because, I don't know, I'm lazy, I guess. So let's just go ahead and go for rock, cliff, okay. And no, this one I already downloaded before. Let's just do this one. This one I also downloaded before. So let's just go ahead and add this. It doesn't really matter because we're going to turn it white. So it doesn't matter which one it is. And then if you go to Megascans, 3D Assets, and... oh wait, I already went over that. And then once again, you can just go ahead and go into your texture. Set saturation to 0. And the color maybe to like 2. And now what we can do is we can go ahead and just like... let's see. Let's place this over here. And from looking at my other camera, I want to have this like quite far away. maybe something like over here. Let's make this one maybe like a little bit bigger, because I want to just have it like in the distance. So, and then we get something like this. It doesn't feel that far away, but of course it is. But then this just in general gives us a lot of depth. Of course, it also becomes tricky because we are manipulating it. In real life, you would just have like, because of the depth of field, you would have so many trees and information in there. It would look a lot denser. However, in return, in the real life, of course, everything is a lot sharper. So you wouldn't see it as that. Now let's go ahead and go to our European beach. And let's go to our, and I know I pronounced that incorrectly. I'm going to start on the foreground. And I want to have like something mostly for my lighting first. Oh hey, I did that by coincidence, but oh, you guys can see what I'm seeing. I quite like having like the tree a little bit here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to have the tree sitting like in the corner over here, just because it feels like a really natural cut off. And also I can see over here that with like my lighting over here, that it is not really in the most interesting position. So what I can do is I can now at this point just balance out my lighting a little bit more, just to get the shadows to mostly fall over the trees. Okay, I quite like that, as you can see over here. So, but it is still feeling a little bit too, I don't know. Well, especially like the wind is also not really working. Well, it's not, at least it's not really helping, to be honest. And the PIF painting one, those ones, do they have wind? Let me just check. No, they do not have wind. So I might actually want to use those in return. So let me just grab this one and then replace it. And what I'm going to do is I need to go into my material over here and just set the albedo tint back, and also set the seasons off. That should already do the trick. Because we already changed all of the textures. That's a nice thing in changing textures and not the rest. So we got this. Yeah, that's looking a little bit better. I like to go to my... Where's my camera? Oh, sorry, my light. Here we go, directional light. Let's have a look. Wait, I'm just going to do it this way. There we go. I want to go ahead and have a quick look at my source angle, because you can see that your source angle now matters a lot. So I'm just going to go ahead and make that not as strong. Maybe let's say like 1 over here. And then we can also go ahead and, let's see, so I don't want to like cover the entire door. I feel like it is always nice to have like a bit of a split over here. Oh god, don't know what I did there, but where is it? If this is my light, what I can do is I can maybe move my light right in front of my camera over here. And that makes it a little bit easier for me to just very carefully, turn off snap rotation. Yeah, I quite like having like a little bit more sun. Let's have a look. Just like having it a little bit more warmer would be nice. And I'm just like playing around with my light. So I feel like something like this would look quite nice. Or is it too strong? And now let's have a look. So my tree is sitting over here. So what I can do is I can still use this tree as like a nice blockade on the right hand side, and then maybe like, let's say like use this tree, and then for this one here, see, I'm using this to really like block off my lighting. So I'm just almost like sculpting the lighting with trees. That's pretty much how you can see it. Let's see, this one I want to go for. So something like this. And then the next one. I'm just having a think. Like I want to place. Maybe this one. I want to try and like get some really nice shadows. Still on this part of the... And I'm surprised that my camera doesn't see it. I guess it goes straight exactly through it. You guys can see it, but yeah, it's really difficult for me to like balance it out. I'm just trying to get like some shadows on this area over here. That's basically it. So I'm just trying to like scale my tree, place it around, move it around. And let's see. So now we have something like this. So I like, it feels really natural on this side. It feels really natural on this side. And I feel like we are missing something over here because we don't need to have like the tree shadows everywhere. It is nice to have some calm in between all of the shadows. So over here, like these are not very calm and these are not very calm. So it's nice to have something. But I still feel like here on the ground and here we could use like a little bit more of like the trees. So let's see if we can grab... Oh, I can see here that I need to change my material also. Let's see, let's use this one. Over here on the ground, because you can see that over here that works quite well on the ground. And then the last one, I think it needs to be quite a large one for me to be able to move it there. So let's see. How is something like that? Let's press H to hide it. Unhide. Hide it. Unhide. It is making too many shadows. Let's try something like with a lot less leaves maybe. Maybe this one over here. Yeah, that is tricky actually. That is a tricky one. Where do I want to place this? Wait, something like that would work. Let's see. Hide, just by pressing H, and then Ctrl H unhide. So, let's see, hide, unhide. I think that will work. I think for the blockout, of course, because I like spending a lot of time on just the blockout, but I think that will work. I'm just gonna go ahead and like add a little bit more shadows on like the rooftops. And then what we can do is we can just fill in the background. So shadows on the rooftops, they will also be visible. So what I like to do is probably, let's see, let's grab one tree here and let's make it a bit smaller. I want this to be literally visible in my view. Let's make it bigger. Okay, and then I'm also going to go ahead and place another one that's quite close to it. Maybe over here. And another one that's... let's see, another one that we will place... I don't know where we will place it. Maybe a different tree. Just like something in the back. So yeah, I'm really able to like place everything quite perfectly, just the way I want it. I do feel like that over here, like this front tree, it is a little bit too in the front. So let me just try and push it back a little bit. Let's do something like this. Then I feel like we do need like another tree or something later on that's like smaller in the background, but I don't know what yet. And yes, we also have like the problem that I want a tree that like boosts up the shadows on the top. This one is pretty good. Here we go, see? Height. Unhide. I think that one looks pretty good. Okay, cool. So we got that one over here also done. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm now just going to go ahead and place a bunch of trees that are more in like the background. So let's start by just placing some stuff over here. And you cannot see it, but yeah, you can see that I'm just like filling in the backgrounds and stuff like that. And I will have a look. Now, what you don't want to do is you don't want to have trees literally everywhere. Try to have some gaps. You can see also over here that there is like, one sec, over here, where you can see like there's some peaceful gaps between trees. And this is really good for composition because whenever you are looking at the artwork, your eyes don't get overwhelmed by these small details. But instead you will see like some small details, then you will have like some relaxing to your eyes, and then you will have more small details on top. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and sometimes leave out some of the details. This is a really big one. I actually don't really like these type of trees. Oh, sorry, I have a bug. There we go. Sometimes I have a bug that my keyboard does not register it, and then all of a sudden my camera starts flying around. So let's see, this one is gonna be here, and then I guess I want to have another one that's going to be here. Let's make it a bit, okay, that's quite nice. I will have another one that's going to be, and yes, I will fix the materials later on. Maybe here. And I will also want to have like some foliage pieces which are like around the cliffs. Okay, let's see what we have now. So we got some foreground pieces over here. I feel like that we see too many just like stalks and not enough leaves in these areas. So I quite like the foreground over here. Maybe I will have like a little bit more. What I can also do is I can also go in my foliage mode and kind of like just paint on these cliffs almost as if to indicate that there's like ground behind it. I think that will also work well. Here we go. And now I want to go ahead and let's place one more, and I'm just gonna basically push it down because I need to kind of like create more depth so that we have more foliage around those trees. There we go. Okay, that works well. As you can see, just look past the orange or the pink. I will remove that soon, but now you can see like here it feels a little bit more, that there's like a little bit more depth. Now I'm fine with this one over here at the top, which is I believe this piece over here. Just gonna scale it up and down just to make sure that I'm fine with it. Maybe rotate it a bit. Something like that. Okay. And then we have this one over here, which I'm also fine with. Maybe give him a friend. Okay, that's a really small friend. Let's try. Just something that is just behind it. And it's nice that when we place our trees now, we already know like roughly where to place them in the near future. I like it, but I feel like it needs to go a bit further back, maybe. Okay. So I would call this area over here already pretty much done. Now in this area, I feel like there's just like needs to be a little bit of more leaves on the bottom and on this side. And for that I can probably grab this one. And maybe change the tree just for good measure. Rotate it a bit and let's move it down a bit. Oh god, I accidentally moved my camera. Luckily we now have like a pretty good frame of reference. I think. Was that the good angle? Yeah, I think that's a good angle. So I'm just gonna very quickly already go into my camera. And I'm just going to right click, transform and lock it. But I think we have something pretty solid looking right now. Yeah, we got some trees. We got like some areas where it's like a bit calm also in here. Maybe have one more behind over here, these empty spaces. And then I think we are ready to go. So I'm just gonna do one more and I'm gonna have like, I don't know, like something simple. And just move it behind here. There we go, awesome. Okay, so just to turn these trees white, I want to go ahead and here. I knew that we had like these folders. Remember how I was telling you like we will need to change a lot of materials? Told you. Just turns out that because I used the one with like the wind, which is not the one I want. But I can just go in here, quickly set the albedo tint to white, and then turn off the seasons. So it will take a second. But it should be fine. White. And turn off the seasons. Because yeah, it's a really cool and complicated shader, but we just want something really easy, so we are just kind of like hacking it a bit. And the last one over here. Okay. Just gonna save my scene. Make my window a bit bigger. And let's have a look. So if I just press G to go into game mode. You know what, I'm even gonna like open up the door a little bit over here. Yeah, that already makes a big difference. I think that is looking pretty cool. What I will do in my next chapter is I will just do like some final polishing of a Blockout. But I think that now, as you can see, you can already get like a really good sense of what our environment is going to look like. In just like in broader strokes. Just gonna play around a bit more with my source angle, because here you can see like you can make it really sharp, but I always like it to be like a bit softer, so let's do 0.7 over here. But I'm quite happy with it. Like, we did not copy the concept 101, but we just made it our own, and we got something really interesting out of it. So in the next chapter we will do some polish, and after that we can finally get started by actually turning this entire environment into like final pieces.